Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Oh, hello.
Well, hello there. How are you? Welcome to Highly Uncircumcised.
Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to us. Welcome to everybody.
Welcome.
This is nice. Actually, this podcast is basically the way that we maintain our friendship. Like this is what we do every week.
This is literally how we maintain our friendship because we don't even talk anymore. We're just all Zoom.
Well, we also have kids that are in school, and like so now time has gotten short. So this is what happens with adult relationships. You have so much shit going on that
I mean, we used to be like young and
tight,
free and wild and tight and just
young,
we were
dumb and broke.
We almost destroyed the world together, and then we just became like COVID not scared. We became COVID aware, and then we started having all these podcasts on COVID, and the kids went back to school. By the way, meet my new friend, Nichoel. This is Nichoel Schmergens.
Schmergens. Is that supposed to be me? No, it doesn't even sound like you. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's my bestie now. And she and I are getting ready to do a podcast called One-on-One with Nichoel Schmergens. So she has a lot to say. Because my other Nichoel just bailed on me for her kids. I can't understand it, but whatever.
Life. How my kids actually have not gone back to school yet. So
what?
For those that are watching that are not in LA, they may not know that LA is committed to COVID zero. So we have all the mandates still, like all of them. Whereas like middle America is just like, what? We just living our life, So how was the first day of school for your kids?
It was awesome. So we bought hazmat suits for all three of them.
I wish you would have done that and put that picture on Facebook. I saw your picture. You guys looked all so nice. I wish you would have been in hazmat suits just to show the ridiculousness of all of this.
Dude, they are literally screening kids at the gate of my kids' high school.
I'm over this. I'm so over it.
Amazing.
I'm over it. I've been over it.
You're not as over it as I'm over it. I'm more over it.
Well, now you've reached the point perhaps where I was on day one.
Yeah, but I'm ready just to scream the name of the drug that got us.
Don't do it. Don't you say that name of that drug that is highly beneficial and positive in treating and curing COVID. Don't say it because it's so cheap and people might use it and somebody is going to get really mad because they're going to lose billions of dollars.
Look at my face. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it.
Don't you do it. Otherwise,
I'm going to fine.
No, first you need to get your third and fourth booster. And then maybe
I'm already on my 12th booster. What are you talking about? Let me just tell you, and the vaccine is good for losing weight as well.
That'll be next because they can't.
We don't know why. We don't know
there
why.
There's no data for anything. No, but yeah, there's no data to prove that a third shot will be at any way beneficial. But they're like, hey, yeah, we need everyone get a booster. Like, what the hell?
Nichoel,
but anyways, the point is, how is school? So they had to stand in line.
Hold on, let me just tell you that I am 8% body fat now. After my 11th booster.
Okay, all right, then I'll get it too. Then I'll get that. That'll sell me. You're just gonna lose. What it doesn't tell you is that like 3, you just keep wasting away to like nothing.
And I'm also as fast as Michael Phelps in the pool. Anyway, yes, no, they actually were like, they were kind of like on it. They were like, it's slow. Like there's just so much. Just surrounding COVID. So they weren't like excited, it almost seemed like they were just ready to be in the house and do school from the house and all that.
Well, you might as well going through all that. I mean, I remember when we were little and first you'd look forward to summer and then you have summer, but by the end you're like, I'm ready to go back to school and you're excited, right? And you can see your friends and like, look at what we've done to our kids. Like, this is just such, and if you come at me and like, but people are dying, shut the F up. Because there are no concern for alternative effects that we are having on our children. And it's just makes me so mad. Like long-term mental and physical ramifications for our children.
Can I, you know what? I just feel like this should be an episode on venting. So
I like it. I'm here for it. Let's do it.
I'm so here for it. Let's go. Listen, I have two things that I've just now thought about while you were talking that really are not COVID related per se, but like I just feel like we just need this sort of cathartic episode where we just are like, you know, fuck everything. Let's just talk about it. Okay. First thing, okay. I have 3 kids, you know this, right? 2 years ago, I had 3 kids in 3 different schools, all in Pasadena, okay? They had different bail schedules for all the schools. So fortunately, the way I work and the way I make my living, I have a lot of freedom, right? Esther, you know, gets to make her own schedule. She's a nurse and all that good stuff. So we're able to kind of, okay, we got to run here and get this one. And we got to run here and get this one. And we got to run here and get this one. And they all get picked up at different times and all this stuff. I asked Esther just yesterday, I said, how in the hell do people who don't have flexible jobs drop their kids off at 10:15 a.m. on a Monday, pick one up at 1:25 on a Monday, and pick the other one up at 3:45, and then I got to go back at 7:30 to get my daughter from volleyball practice? How is this done, and who's making these decisions? When I went to school, we got to school at 8 o'clock, and we ended at 3 o'clock every day in every school in the district.
Yeah, all of them, and not even in the district, but in neighboring district, all of them.
Who decided that like kids should go to school for 4 hours on a Monday, and then they get these pupil free days where they don't show up on Fridays? And it's like, what in the hell? And now summer starts in spring. I mean, you're out of school in April, and then you go back in July or whatever the hell. They get out in May and back in August. Who's coming up with this? I have a serious problem with that.
Yeah, and well, that's exactly it. And luckily, you can say that you're privileged enough to be able to handle it. The problem is that the vast majority are not, and that's where the disparity is going to continue to increase. Is that the underprivileged, you know, are going to be underserved, and that's long-term ramifications that we are going to see in that we don't care about. We don't care. And people will just say, well, people are dying today. Like, I can't stress enough this number. And I shout it from the hilltops that, you know, the IFR, the infection fatality rate of COVID.
It's 100%.
Okay, that's what we think, right? According to the news. It's
100%.
If you're under 70, it's 0.05%. 0.05%. That's less than the flu, by the way, if you're under 70. Of course, it goes up to like a percent more if you're over 70. Also, if you're under 40, it's basically 0 with no pre-existing conditions. I cannot stress it enough. I cannot say it enough. Those are numbers provided directly from the CDC and the WHO. But if you look at the news, it's mass hysteria. It's all cases. It's everything's overrun. This is ridiculous. And not only that, but I try to talk to poker players about it who should understand statistics. And at the same time, while I'm trying to talk about the statistics, they're telling me, oh, you just are selfish and you want everyone to die. What is happening to our goddamn society? Like, this is so ridiculous. And as for schools, I honestly have come to terms with the fact that they're ridiculous. I thought they were ridiculous before. You know, we've had these conversations at the table that they are sorely lacking. They're teaching things that aren't even necessary anymore, especially considering we have access to endless information at our fingertips. Now, what we need to be working on is like the emotional mental capacity that we're clearly lacking, right? We don't do any of that. We don't, you know, we treat our schools basically like prisons, you know, stand in line, come to the bell, listen, obey, not think for yourself, be creative, don't be scared to fail. It's basically the opposite of everything that we need for a healthy and thriving future. And this was before COVID. And it's only getting worse, right? I'm ready for it to fail. I'm ready for it to fail. The problem is, and again, I would say, you can say, well, you're privileged enough to handle it. I could say yes, but in this moment, like I have nothing, I lost my job a year and a half ago and I've done, not made money since. So I have nothing and I don't give a shit. My kids are more important to me. I will figure it out. I will figure out a better way. And I'm ready for the system to fail because maybe it needs to. It's time to change the entire system.
So my entire life, ever since I was able to speak and process thoughts and ask questions, I have always been the person that asks why. Because I need for stuff to make sense to me. If you can give me a logical, reasonable, rational answer to anything, I'm going to accept it. It's just like when you and I first started talking about COVID months and months, and actually months, what am I saying? It's damn near years ago now.
Oh, yeah.
You know where I stood. You brought me some data, kept giving me more data, allowed me to research some stuff on my own. I came to the point where I was like, you know what? There's a whole nother side to this thing that I did not consider. I don't get when people make decisions where you cannot answer the why. And I'll give you an example. How is it okay to take off your mask, to eat and drink in the same place where they're telling you if you're not eating or drinking, leave your mask on? Listen, I don't care about either side of it right now. All I'm saying is where's the logic in that? If you're gonna get the disease or the virus, you're gonna get it, right? I mean, if a person is there that has the virus and they start eating or drinking, your mask is not gonna filter out everything that it's supposed to filter out anyway when they're sitting a foot from you. I know this because guess what? That's how I got COVID when I got COVID over a year ago now. It was a year ago. I just don't understand who's making these decisions. At this point, I honestly feel like, it's gotten so political that it's ridiculous. It's like literally a red side and a blue side. But I feel like there's a good contingent of people now that are purple, like me, that are just like, what the hell is any of that? What are we doing? What are we doing? Listen, I'm all for people getting vaccinated because I actually do think that vaccinating people will mitigate just all the hysteria. But like, I'm just, the whole thing is so revealed the ignorance and the intelligence level of the people we put in place to manage everything in our lives, from the school system to the cities to the states to the presidency. I mean, look at what's going on in Afghanistan right now. I know you don't watch the news, but
I read headline. I don't watch. I don't listen to again, and it's because the news is there to sell you something. And fear sells. And this is what's happened. I mean, the news is the media is the reason we're in this position. I was looking for that quote again from Sean Model, right? Because I wanted to talk about that, like about the Harvard PhD who said, how did we get here? And he said, because once we had this narrative in the beginning that this is scary, that everyone's going to die. Now the media put that narrative out, right? Now the people all feel that way, regardless of the actual, regardless of actual data, regardless of the IFR being actually 0.05% for anyone under 70, regardless of that, now there's mass hysteria that is continually fueled by the media. And now we have a government that is attempting to serve the people who are massively hysterical because they feel like we're all going to die. So we just have this vicious cycle that is never going to end until we say it's going to end. And I felt that from the beginning, and it just won't stop. It just keeps escalating until this is what I asked you when you said in the beginning, and you were very clear and logical about vaccination and protect our society. But you can clearly see already now that we've been a year into it, it's not stopping. It's not stopping. People are getting vaccinated. It's still not stopping. Now we're going to add a mandate. Now we're going to mandate more boosters. Now we're going to
They're already talking about this third or this booster shot that is supposed to be implemented within, like, after you have 8 months of vaccination. They're saying that the vaccination wanes.
But by the way, that's not a vaccination. I mean, that's not how a vaccination works. It's not like, oh, you took 2 and 8 months later it's gone. That's a therapeutic at best, and not even a good one. So these are things that people said from the beginning that are censored, banned, and called misinformation, but truly just trying to get information out there. So
can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
Can I tell you something? Let me just, I want this whole episode to just devolve into madness. Okay. So I'm doing everything.
So basically like society right now.
Yeah, I literally want this episode to just blow up. I want to see your head explode on camera with this particular episode. So I'm going for it today. Okay. I'm going for mine. Don't stop me. Can I tell you something?
No, stop. Stop.
No, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Listen. Okay, yes, I'm going to say it. I actually think, Nichoel, that COVID is a biological weapon. I think we are actually amidst biological warfare right now. I know this is full-on conspiracy talk, and this
now you're going to get us banned. Listen here.
Wait a minute, that's going to get us banned because I think that COVID is biological warfare? Yeah. I'm not denying the existence of COVID. I'm saying COVID to me is fine. Let me just stop. I don't want to
I think that's a very valid point and one you could question. Now that we understand exactly where it came from, who was in charge of where it came from, when it did come from. We call that, what did they call it? Gain of function research, but basically means trying to develop a biological weapon.
Right. But listen, the reason why I was saying that was not to just be provocative. I'm telling you that because I think the reason why it's all become so chaotic in this whole mass hysteria is because the powers that be actually know what's really going on. And though your information could be correct, say that the actual death rate is not as high as what it could be being put out there, or maybe it even is. I don't know. Let's just say, for sake of argument, that it is as high as they say it is, and 700,000 people about that in America have died.
By the way, I want you to hold your thought right there because I want to say something about that. That's the last vestige of proof that people have to hold on to, that we have 700,000 excess deaths last year. Number one, I want to say first, that number is not finalized. It's not even finalized till November of this year. And number two, I want to say, in all the talks about those 700,000 excess deaths, not one points to the idea that these all occurred. If you look at the actual graph, they all occurred starting in March, right? The excess deaths starting in March. Could it have possibly been that we also had excess deaths due to the very tactics we took to mitigate COVID? We all just assume immediately that it's all COVID. What if it's people didn't get hospital care that they needed? They had heart attacks. They died because they had cancers. They died. They got sick. They died, not of necessarily COVID. We immediately say and infer that those 700,000 excess deaths, COVID. So that's also my issue at point, is that this is the last vestige of something we're holding on to, that's saying COVID is the worst and all these people died and you're selfish if you don't notice that. Like, you don't know why they died. We simply have a graph of excess deaths.
You are walking a line right now. Oh my goodness, you are walking a line right now.
You called it a biological weapon. Now I'm going to get us banned.
Hey, I'm just saying, you're giving a lot of information right now, a lot of information.
But did you ever think about that? I mean, honestly, like that's what I think about it. I said, I'm not denying that it could be 100% definitely. A new virus comes out and a society is not immune to it. We've never been exposed to it. Of course, it will kill the elderly and non-immune, right? Of course, could be. But also, there is no discussion, and this is in all terms of everything COVID, of the mitigation factors and the negative impacts those are having. The lockdowns, the masks, everything. They could be in there as well. It doesn't have to be just COVID.
Right. Okay. Yes, I hear everything you're saying. And don't even necessarily disagree with the possibilities or contention that you're making. I will tell you this, okay? Having had COVID, I have never in my life felt anything like COVID. And I'm not saying that like it's the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, because it's literally not the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. But in terms of getting sick, like flu, cold, whatever, I never experienced anything like it. Why am I saying that? Because that actually, for me, is a big indication of this was something like, this was different. I'm telling you,
Bioweapon.
you just have to have felt what I'm saying. Like, I almost wish you would have had it just so you can understand what I'm saying right now. This wasn't like
I don't get
getting
sick.
this wasn't like getting a bad flu. This wasn't like a horrible cold. This was literally like, it felt engineered. And I don't know how to really explain it because I'm not a medical professional and I can't really convey to you what I felt in my body, but I'm telling you right now, this hit so different. So I can totally imagine what the people in the ICU and on ventilators and all this kind of stuff must be feeling. But I want to talk about my original contention. I don't trust the US government to tell us the truth about stuff. I really don't. And maybe we're just gonna get banned on this episode. Like, I'm full tilt right now into like just wanting to just tell you what I think. Dude, I promise you. I can't say it. Never mind. I can't even say it.
You can't not say it now. Go ahead and say it.
No, I can't.
If we're gonna get banned, we're already getting banned anyway. So go ahead and say it.
Well, let me put it in terms of a question. Let me ask you. Okay. Say we thought COVID originated in, I don't even have to be specific. Let's say it originated in a country that the US had no financial, mineral, military, trade, no ties with whatsoever. Boringistan. That's what we'll call it. Okay.
Boringistan.
Yeah. Just nothingistan. Okay. Do you think that the US government would have any problem saying that nothingistan was developing biological weapons?
No, of course they would be all over it.
Of course they would be all over it. Not only would they be all over it, there probably would have already been some sort of military action. If not just responding in kind with our own biological weapons, because it's not like we don't have them, right? What am I saying here? I think there's, see, this is where I just know we're going to get in trouble.
Just say it. I'm over it. I don't care. We have 63 people following us. Just say it.
And I want those 63 people to hear what I have to say today, because I'm kind of irritated. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed anyway. Listen, if this thing hadn't supposedly originated in China, we would be all over this and we would be telling the people why we're all over this. But there is no way in the world we're going to do anything to blow up a relationship with a country that we owe so much money to right now, that if they actually called the debt that we owe on them, they would literally send the US economy into a tailspin that we cannot get out of. I'm not talking about, hey, bail out, AIG and too big to fail. I'm talking about literally basic services would break down. The only thing we could do is literally just go to war, because we couldn't afford to pay them.
Well, not only not pay them, but literally everything we own is made by them. We don't make anything in the United States.
So why do I not hear anyone saying this? Because I cannot be the first person to think that
people do say it, Michael, and therein lies the problem with the goddamn news. Turn it off. Turn it off. That is the problem. Listen, this, if you want to call it bioweapon, this virus, whatever, came out of the very lab that we were funding, head by the very man that we now are listening to mandate how we're meant to treat this very weapon that he leashed on the population. And we're all clamoring.
Nicole, calm down.
And we are all
clamoring
to listen to him. Oh, yes.
You're going to have somebody show up at our front doors.
I don't care. There are millions like me. And nobody wants to say it. But
there's only one you.
They're pushing too much, too hard, and they are going to lose. Stop with this ridiculousness. And people have to see, and I understand how it works, right? The vast majority are just living life and probably happy. And, you get your news from your newspaper headlines and, you're talking at work and, oh yeah, oh God, that's scary. Oh, now the Delta's out there. It's scary. So this is what they believe because they don't think they're not thinking for themselves. They just don't think that somebody would put something out there that wasn't, in fact, factual. Right. And this is how we get here, though. This is a problem. And again, let's go back to what we started it with your kids going to school. It starts there. We're teaching our kids not to think. We're teaching our kids to follow. And here's where we've become. Here's where we've become, right? And it's only going to get worse if we don't start thinking.
Okay, let me tell you what has me really irritated about this. This is just Vince, highly uncircumcised.
Vent City.
Just
Vent City.
Just effing Vent. I stopped at the gas station the other day. The gas station, okay? Outside. Have you ever been in an inside gas station?
Have they made one of those yet?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying maybe they have them in Minnesota. I don't know. Okay. I stopped at the gas station outside. Did not have my mask on. Okay. Yet lady in front of me has her mask on and she's just shooting daggers looking at me. Oh my God, she is pissed. And I already know why she's pissed, but I kind of want her to say something.
I just smile like, hi, how are you?
No.
You silly you.
No.
Are you looking like yes.
Listen. This lady couldn't even take it anymore. And she doesn't even know I'm a vaccinated individual. I've had 36 boosters. I'm growing a tail. I got one eyebrow now. She doesn't even realize, like I'm turning into a cyclops, okay? Listen, she goes, son, right? She calls me son. I'm like,
oh, hell no.
Well, in fairness to her, she was 136 years old. But she goes, son, why aren't you wearing a mask? And I was like, ma'am, we're outside and I'm vaccinated and I'm pretty healthy. And I just know I don't have COVID because I've had COVID. So like, are you really worried about me and my mask? These were my words to her. She was like, well, it's just, what are you saying to everybody else? And I was like, I'm saying I'm outside. I don't need a mask. Here's where it got funny to me. And by funny,
that I mean, wasn't funny yet?
No, here's where, because this is the first time I've had a mask encounter in this whole time, okay? This whole pandemic. No one's ever said anything to me. And I'm usually pretty good about it, so there's no reason to. Anyway, another gentleman looks at her and he was like, you need to stay out of that man's business.
Here's how society is going down. Here's what
I was like, uh-oh. So now another person looks at him and it was like, you don't need to be talking to old people that way.
And then she's like, you don't need to call me old.
She was like, look here, I'm just trying to talk to this young man about something. You mind your damn business. And the other guy was like, yeah, you mind your damn business. And I was thinking to myself, this lady was talking to me, and now there are literally 4 people engaged in an argument, which I don't want any part of, by the way, about wearing a mask outside. Why
this is what we have devolved
to.
But
listen to me. This has a point. Okay, I'm not just sharing this story. I then come home and I look online and I'm starting to read an article about the Lambda variant. And I was like, wait a minute. We're supposedly not even like a quarter of the way through the Delta variant. I was like, this was my thought. Society is literally going to break down.
Oh, Michael, it has.
And what is going on in stores where people are fighting and people are actually throwing fists and all this kind of stuff, which I wasn't worried about because it didn't feel like that kind of thing. But I was like, I can see how these things escalate into like, literally someone got killed the other day. I don't know if you heard about it, but somebody got shot and killed because of not wearing a mask, and the other person got pissed off and they're going back and forth and the guy pulls out a gun and shoots him, right? So literally, I feel like what's the worst that could happen at this point, even if 10 or 15 or 20% of the population got this and a percentage of that sadly is going to die, right? I feel like just
0.05%.
trying to mitigate the entire scenario is actually making stuff worse than it would be if you just kind of let whatever's going to happen.
Boom.
Oh,
Boom goes the dynamite.
Drop the mic.
That's what I've been saying from the beginning, Michael. When we were in the casino, February 2020, when people were wearing masks already and saying, "Aren't you scared that it's coming?" And I knew this is what's going to happen. And I told them then, like, no, I'm scared of what we're going to do about it. And this is where we are in society. And if we keep watching the news and listening to the media, it will never end. And not only that, but what are the kind of people we are going to become? We're the kind of people who are going to shoot somebody over not wearing a mask. What the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously.
When I saw that, I
outrageous.
Just was like, I'm done. I don't even know what to think anymore. People are literally dying.
Well, and there you go again with excess deaths. Okay, so let's get back to that point. And that is literally, the points used to be, oh, we have to vaccinate. Well, now we found out the vaccines barely work. Literally, they said Pfizer's efficacy is down to like 41%, which is less, by the way, than 50%, which is what it's needed to be approved, even though they're saying they're going to approve it anyways.
Down to 41% in terms of
efficacy.
The Delta variant?
I have no idea. I don't even give a shit. Like, I don't even care. The point is that they had all these points. Like, if we just get vaccinated, if we just do this, if we just do that, oh, we got to save everybody. Nothing was true that they said. Nothing. It was all fear-based hysteria, look at data, the data from their own institutions, from the CDC and WHO, tells a clear picture of what this virus does to us. Everything else we're doing to ourselves. And it's sad. And if we bring it back to the beginning where you're talking about school, so yeah, so in LA, they want all the kids to wear masks. If you read any social media, there's literally people on there, and some of them are doctors, talking about how, oh, you can't bring kids to school. You can't, they're vectors for diseases. I mean, this is what we are putting on our next generation. This stress, anxiety, paranoia, hysteria, not one iota of factual logic, rational, data-based analysis. And I always go back to Sweden, right? And people are like, you can't look at Sweden. They're different than us. Yeah, they are different than us. Number one, they're way fucking healthier. Number one. Number two, they are honest to their people. Their government is honest, and they care about propagating health, actual health, for not only their environment, their society, for humanity. If you look at their seat,
they're also socialist, right?
They're not socialist. I've been there. They're not socialist.
That is a socialist country.
They have been incredibly honest regarding all of this. Yes, this can be dangerous for the older and immunocompromised. We suggest anybody that wants it or needs it gets a vaccination. We suggest not going into big, but there was no mandates. And they've had 0 deaths in a month. 0.
Are they down to 0?
0 for a month.
0.
But we can't look at them. They're so different than us. Let's not try and rationally compare how they did it versus what we did. And why this continues to scare me since from the beginning, because again, where does it end is, and you would say, oh, well, it's just a mandate, you just to fly, whatever. Look at fucking Australia and New Zealand. Do you want that for us? Because that's where we're going. That's where it never,
Australia and New Zealand.
They're locked down for 0 cases, not cases, 0 deaths. They had they're completely locked. They're on like 6 lockdown, complete military lockdown, can't leave their house, lockdown. And they've been that way. That's where we're going.
There's no chance. There's no chance that the U.S. government will.
I would have thought that. I would have thought that in the beginning, Michael, but our people have been revved up into this mass hysteria now that they're yelling for it. They're yelling
for lockdown.
Yes.
I feel like they're yelling for freedom.
Half of us are, yes, but we're not louder than them. That's the problem. We need to get loud.
I haven't heard anybody advocating for lockdown.
Go on Twitter, you'll see it. Twitter is full of it, full of people advocating not sending kids to school unless they're masked and vaxxed, and if there's one case, take them home. If even one kid dies, first of all, no kids are dying. And if you look at the evidence from the kids,
that's not what they're saying.
Of course not.
Of course it's not. That's not what they're saying.
Of course it's not
right now.
No, of course it's not. But if you actually look at the data, no kids are dying. The ones that did, the very, very, very 0.0003% that did already had massive other conditions like lymphoma or cancers. This is ridiculous. We are doing so much harm to our already incredibly fragile and weak mental capacity. And we're killing each other over masks when we could just be living, understanding that this virus is going to rush through. We need to live our lives. Instead, listening to the very guy that created the virus mandate what we need to do to mitigate the virus. I make it make sense to me. It has never made sense. Please make it make sense.
What is the end game here?
That's the question, right? Where does it end? Where does it end? And
I'm asking you, what do you think?
I hope to God that everyone like me will rise up and we will stop. And so we remain the amazing and wonderful and free country that we have been, what makes us so great. Because if we don't, it's the beginning of the end for the United States. It truly is. People who want to say, oh, but you're selfish and oh, people are going to die and just get your damn vaccination. Fuck you. You don't understand how important this is. Do you want to give your children the freedoms and the possibilities that you had growing up? Then fucking fight for this, because this isn't just about a vaccination. This is about our future, and it's not going in the right direction.
Well, I actually think things are a bit interesting, because we've already been so divided along like political lines, racial lines, economic lines. And now it almost feels like COVID is just the tipping point for like disaster in this country, because now it's like, are you a masker? Are you an anti-masker? Are you a vaxxer? Are you an anti-vaxxer? And
I want to say something too, though. But again, that's the news creating divisiveness. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But the one thing that the news is good at is creating that the divide is real, is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, it's not some media created. Well, maybe it is a media created. It's media created and then propagated. It wasn't real,
but it is a real thing. Right? It has become a real thing.
It has become a real thing.
I read an article just the other day about a celebrity that literally is cutting off her friends because her friends won't
Jennifer Aniston, Friends.
Yes. And I didn't want to say her name because, I just, whatever. I actually thought, well, that's kind of interesting. Your friendship doesn't seem that deep if you were really ready to cut them off because they're anti-vaxxers. Now, maybe you don't want them in your home for the time being, but to literally like, oh, the relationship is over, that part kind of threw me. I was like, wow, somebody called me and was like, hey, you're an anti-vaxxer, we're done. I just have to be like, wow, I'm thankful I know where we stand.
That's exactly it. We need to turn the TV off and get back to what's important. Our relationships, each other, love, connection. This is what matters. And all of the mitigation efforts of this virus have been the opposite of that, have been creating divisiveness, disconnection, fear, hysteria, anxiety, stress. We have to get back to remembering what's important. And it is true. Like, we have a friend that is very much proponent of vaccines. And again, this isn't really even about vaccines to me, but that's how the lines get divided. But But, him and I have had a lot of debates online, especially on Twitter, because people love to talk about it. But at the end of the day, we say, yeah, I love you. I love you. We're just very strongly disagree on our thoughts on these matters. And that's what we have to be able to do in life. If you're going to have a cohesive society with billions of people, you have to understand that there are mass differences in how people think. Mass, not mask, mass. And you have to accept that. You have to be able to accept that. And we need leaders that can lead for the majority, not for the loudest. I hope it's few, but maybe it's half. You need to have leaders who are strong enough to bring the people together to at least serve 80% of us versus half of us, right? Because how divisive we've been. And again, it started with Trump. It started long before Trump, but really Trump really made it divisive. And everyone was so happy about Biden, but he's making it even more divisive, to be honest. And that's coming from somebody who did not vote in the last two presidential elections because I hated all the options, right? And you can, you didn't vote, shut the hell up. I would not vote for any of those people, right?
Well,
It's
I think
not
that Biden
good.
just handed the Republicans the White House.
But this is what I mean. We talked about this before, the extremes. Trump was from one extreme, we went to the next. It is never good to have leadership from the extremes. We need somebody that brings the people together, because clearly we are unable to be rational and logical on our own. So we need better leadership so that people will begin to see again that what is important in life. And so we can all start living again. Like, this is just ridiculous. So what's going to happen at your school? So you said they have to test. What's going to happen when there's a negative COVID test or positive?
So,
what's the word? Positive COVID test.
Basically, when a kid tests positive, from what I understand, that kid has to do what we've always kind of done, which is he or she has to be home for 2 weeks and then give a negative test result to the powers that be. But it's funny because I got an email from the volleyball coach, my daughter's volleyball coach, basically saying that they had to meet some requirement to play in the game, their opening game next week. And we actually ended up getting ours vaccinated because they literally had to be vaccinated to play.
Well, that's coming anyways in schools the minute they can. I mean, that's why they're putting masks on.
What I was going to say to you actually is that you realize you're not going to have any choice in this, like soon.
No, that's not true.
I'm not talking, you're not going to have any choice.
Yes, I will.
Everyone is starting to require proof of vaccination. They actually sent me a digital copy of my vaccination card unsolicited the other day because they're preparing for you to have to show this.
That's fine. Then I'll move.
Different venues.
Then I'll move.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a nationwide thing.
No, it won't.
You're going to have to drive to Minnesota or wherever you go.
That's fine. I got dogs. I'm not getting on planes anyway. I was going to go to Minnesota over Labor Day, but after I heard about all of the delays on tarmacs and stuff, I decided not to fly anyways. But we always have a choice. The fact that we give them up is how freedoms will be continually taken away because we allow it. You always have a choice. Always.
Well, mark my words, because I'm telling you, remember this date. I'm telling you that federally, everyone is going to have to show vaccination cards to live. You really are. To go to any real store, literally grocery shopping is going to become like black market. You're going to have to send somebody to the store to get your food and all that. Do
you understand when if that happens, that'll be civil war. Everyone's leaving in mass exodus from New York right now because they're doing that. So do you think so the rest of the world's watching? It's not going to happen.
The rest of the world is trying to figure out their own issues though with COVID and their own populations. Look at India.
I'll move to Sweden. I don't give a shit. You always have a choice. And when we give them up and we say, I have to do it because I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. That's one more step towards living under the rule of a ruler rather than a democratic nation. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not about a vaccination. It's about one more thing, one more freedom that you lose if you don't do this and you can't do that. That's not the society that we lived in. That's not what we grew up in. And that's not the society I want for my children in the future. It's not the future I want for them. It doesn't stop there. You know, then what's next? What more do you have to give up? Oh, we feel like that we never should be outside after 10 because, you know, there's just bad stuff happening. Everyone has to be in at 10. It's nonstop. Do you think that once you give up your freedom that they'll just give it back? This is what's happening already. There's just mandates and more lockdown. And this is what Australia and New Zealand is. I will fight. I will fight physically. I never understood the idea of war. I never did. I think violence begets violence, and I think it's just fucking trash. But this is worth fighting for. Do not take away our freedoms, because we will not be the country that we have become.
I have nothing. I have nothing. I have a far more pessimistic view of what this place is capable of.
People are capable of a lot of things, but that's why, I mean, that's why people say you go out and vote, and that's why you vote, and that's why you stand and are counted, and that's why you stand positively and with love and hope and hopefully not violence for what you believe in and for what is right and for the world that you want to live in. But the minute you just say, oh, I guess, the more we do that, the worse it's going to get.
Well, I do think that there's probably no chance that there'll be any sort of lockdown again in terms of like business and stuff. I think the bottom line is always the priority. Money is always going to be the priority. So there probably will never come a time when they'll say, businesses have to shutter or anything like that. But I do believe that they're going to make life ultra difficult.
Oh, for sure. I mean, on the coast, in the big cities, New York, starting it, and even in LA, there's places that are starting. I was supposed to go to a concert this Sunday. I bought the ticket a month ago. They just sent out a mass social media post saying that starting on the 20th, I was supposed to go on the 22nd. They're now requiring vaccinations. So I'm not going. I'll take my money elsewhere. I'll get a refund, and because I don't stand for that. Again, I have nothing against vaccinations, but limiting freedoms, especially of healthy people. And it's actually outside. It's Day Trip LA. It's outside.
But where is it?
In LA.
Like, I mean, but it's not like a well-known place.
I have to look at the address. I don't know what the official address
is.
I
haven't heard of the places requiring, in Los Angeles, places requiring vaccine.
Yeah, it's an outdoor entertainment, outdoor, no enclosed walls. And so it's like, no, I won't support it. I could take a test and show them if it's a vaccine or a test, but I won't support those mandates. I will not. And so I'll take my money elsewhere. And to say that we don't have a choice that's going to be like that everywhere, then I'll figure out that then. Move to fucking Sweden, whatever it takes. Like, I won't just say, oh, sure, that's okay, I guess. Now I'll do that for, so I can live. Oh, now I'll do that. Okay, it's just so I can live. Like, no.
Well, you got anything else you want to vent about?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about this all day. But I think we hammered it home.
I mean, we definitely hammered it home.
Until next week, anyways.
I told you back in February and March 2020, I said, boy, this is not going to be over anytime soon.
Well, you got to stop thinking that and start manifesting shit, positive shit, manifesting the society that we want. You put it on your board and start manifesting that, because we keep thinking the negative, and it's all, it is, things are what we say they are. Things are
the
what
society
we believe
I want is me on a beach in the south of France.
In my village. See what I mean? You're
is your
coming
village
on.
Is it in the south of France?
Sure, if that's where we got to go. If south of France is in vaccine mandation right now too, so I don't think so. But maybe Sweden. Maybe we can go to Sweden. Spain actually, one of their cities for sure just refused mandates. Their court said they're unjust. So maybe there.
Well, I told you, like, Spain is literally one of this guy's favorite places on earth to be, right?
So maybe there, you vote with your actions and with your dollars, and it's, you always have a choice, always.
I think I'm gonna holler at Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson and see if I can
go to Mars.
catch the next flight to Mars. I saw a nice little spot up there. I think I could carve out for the Moors.
Perfect. You go carve it out. I'll be there to join you. No problem. Me, my 2 dogs, my 2 kids. Perfect. Nobody else. Just me, my friends. That's it. We'll have the whole damn planet. Perfect.
I'll send my Hoopty space shuttle to get you. My space shuttle is gonna have spinning rims. I'm gonna have leather on the steering wheel. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
Well, hey, this is why billionaires have been scouting space. They knew this was coming, so we got to go somewhere.
Hey, can I ask you something? Sure, I can. Do you think that we've been visited from
Yes.
other worlds,
yes.
other life forms? You do? You think we've actually been visited?
Yes.
I'm not asking, do you believe in other life? I'm saying,
Yes.
do you believe that other life has actually come here?
Yes.
Do you know someone?
Have you ever seen X-Files?
I kind of watched it a little bit when it first started, but
yeah. It's based on based on true stories, right?
Well, it's based on people saying what happened to them. Listen, what do they look like? Who knows?
Who cares? Like, we're so obsessed with what they look like. The idea that there's definitely more intelligent life than us out there, I believe it for sure.
Well, they had a really good documentary on Showtime called UFO, or maybe it was HBO. I can't remember. Anyway, it just came on. And one of the guys was saying that he believes that alien technology is 50,000 years more advanced than humans. I was like, that's pretty much the ant to the boot.
That was well, yeah. I mean, we are just ants anyways, even not even considering that there is a massively more intelligent being out there. I mean, we just are. Like, we try so hard to prove our importance, right? Especially with this COVID. We can't die. How can we die? How can anybody die? Nobody can ever die. Like, no, we die just like the ants and the trees and the birds, and like it happens. Living and life, death is part of it. Like, we're not that important. But this was actually an X-Files episode, was about their technology, their space being incredibly advanced. And again, I'm sure this could be fiction, could be based on reality. But that, and then the government knows they had one. They had a machine. They had men driving it, and then of course they killed the men that drove it because they can't have anybody find out about it. But yeah, I for sure believe it's out there.
Very interesting. Very interesting. You actually look like you may know one. You look like you're holding back some information. I'll talk to you offline about that.
I feel like we all know a lot more things than we realize if we really just listen to ourselves. Like, listen in here.
But wait a minute, but this is 2021, okay? Imagine where we were in 1921, 100 years ago. We were exponentially less technically, knowledgeable than we are now. That's just 100 years. Now juxtapose that with 50,000 years. Dude, these beings must be moving at the speed of thought. They must just be thinking their way somewhere.
Maybe they are the ones that are doing COVID. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe.
You mean I caught an alien disease?
Maybe Fauci is
No, don't say it. Don't say it. You just got this whole hour and a half shut down. Damn it. Listen, Nicole's jargon views are not the views of those.
Shut up. You said it was a bioweapon. You shut the hell up. Listen, we better shut it down because nobody's listening this long anyways. But this was a good conversation.
Wow.
And I'm here for it. I think we should continue every week hammering it home that, you have to consider what kind of society do you want to live in, and is this it? And even when you pose those questions to people, and I'm speaking primarily on Twitter, and I know it's a small, or even though there's millions of people on it, but it's a small and rather negative and really hysterical field if you actually go and read the comments on there. But when you pose that kind of question to people, there's no thought, there's no logic, there's no anything other than, oh, but people are dying. But that can't be irrational, because people die. They do. So you have to think beyond that. You have to get past the anxiety and the stress and the constant fear. You have to shut your TV off, and you have to listen here. Take a deep breath and listen here. Then we will know, what kind of society do we want to live in? Is this it? I don't think it is.
Let that be the last word.
Let that be the last word. All right, Michael. This was a very enlightening vent. I feel much better.
I do feel a shade lighter.
All right. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye.